Hello friends, welcome to my channel Go Digit. Today in this video we will extend our learning of Power App and we'll see about certain uh, basics of the controls which we use in our Power App applications with respect to the validations, formatting and some formulas. Right. So let's start with that. In case you have not watched my earlier videos of the Power App, please watch that first because uh, before this we have learned about how to start with the Power App with respect to the Business Central, how to integrate the Business Central APIs with the Power App, right? So let's start this video. Here, as you can see, currently I have added one label, and in this label I have added one text, which is the theme of the today's video. Right. So to start with that, let me first add one input like this and one label as well. Okay. So I can remove the default of this text input so that it should show me blank. There is nothing like that. Okay, now in this label let's do something like that. uh, the text of this label should change based on the input of this text box, right? So for example, right now the text box is blank, so I want that it should give an information to the user that you need to input the text above, right? So and in case there is some data there already, then there is no need, like it should say that yeah, data is available, something like that. Okay, so what we can do is that okay, first of all let me add the label for this text box so that it looks good. Name, right? So in this right now you can see I have selected the text property, and in this only text is written, right? I want to change it based on my condition. So let's add the condition. The condition is like, there is a formula here, like if you have to use this if and then the logical test. The logical text means that we need to see whether my this control have any value or not. Okay, so to check that, uh, I need to find out the name of my control text input 1. So let's select again. The name of my control is this uh, text input 1. Okay, so there are some formulas, like if you type here is, and it will suggest like is blank, is empty, is error, is match, is numeric, is today. So you can test certain things with this thing, right? So what I want to see that whether my input is blank or not. So if is blank, what is blank? The text input 1 dot text, right? So if this text input 1 dot text is blank, then I need to pass the text input the name, right? Otherwise, thanks for filling the name, like this, and just close the bracket. And you can see that as soon as you close this bracket, now my label is showing me the first you can say the value which I pass here, that if my text input 1 dot text is blank, which is currently blank, so that's why this output is coming up, input the name. As soon as I put the name here, it will give me this thing. So let's test this up. So right now input the name, let's say code digit, and you can see that thanks for filling the name. It changed based on the input I am providing to my text box, right? So this is the way you can use certain formulas like is blank, is numeric, in case you want to check whether the number which user, or whether the text which user is inputting is number or not. So you can use is numeric. If you want to match certain things, then you can use the formula is match, right? So you just have to type is, and the list will pop out on the basis of your requirement. You can use those formulas and show the output based on certain conditions, right? So this is the first thing which through which we can uh, changes the text of the label based on the input provided in the text input control, right? So now let's learn the second thing. The second thing is, just like to tell you, there is a one control here which is called date picker, right? So if you see this date picker, as soon as you select this, you will let me run it. You can see that it is showing me the current date, and I can select the date as well accordingly based on whatever I want to, right? But by default it always give me the today's date, right? So how this data is coming up, and in case I want to change the way and look and feel of this, so just select this date control and date picker control, and you can see this property default date. Here we have by default the formula is today, which will give you the today's date, right? So in case you want to change certain things, you can use the different formulas accordingly into this property. Along with that, there is one more property here which I would like to show you, and that is date time zone. So you can see here that date time zone is currently local, right? In case you want to change it, you can change the same date time zone dot local or UTC. So if I select the UTC, you can see the date is changed accordingly to the UTC coordinates, right? In case I want to change it to again to my local, because yes, local is something which every user prefers, so you can select that accordingly. Then we have some more thing. Let me select one more property in case input text no, not display mode. I think default date only, which I already explained you. One more way is that we can change if I again select, I think I'm missing something. Let me okay, anyway, I'll tell you later on in my videos, in case that property is not currently showing up here. Maybe I'm missing something, otherwise no problem. But hope, like in case you want to use the date, want to show the dates to the users and want user to select certain dates, you can use this control date picker, so that user can select the dates accordingly, right? Third control which I would like to talk about is combo box, right? In our previous video we have seen that we have used this control, and based on like whatever connector you have selected for this control. For example, it is currently asking me that select the data source, right? So I can select the data source, and then based on that selection it will show that list to me, right? In case you don't want to use that and you want your own values should pop up here, to do that, you just have to use one formula, and I'll show you what that is. For example, right now there is nothing, right? So sorry, not combo, but I think drop down. Let me again, this is the drop down. Okay, so in the combo box which we have learned last week, so from that you can connect that control to the data source and show the values accordingly. But in case you want to use your own data, you want to use your own things, so you can select this drop down control, and in this control, for example, right now, uh, if you press alt, it will show you the values 1 2 3 or something. So this value is coming up because of this drop down sample function in the items property. So it is a sample thing. So this is a data source basically, which is a table and have certain values available. So in case you don't want to use that, obviously, then how to define your own values? So to do that, we have to use the function called table, and in this, because we know table have rows and columns, so accordingly, if we how many columns we want and what values we want, we can define based on the braces we use in this function. So I'm adding one braces, and let me add one column like position, right? So I want one column for this, which should be show the values of the drop down accordingly, like the column and the value of that column, right? So first is top, and then again second, obviously, because it will show me the values of the one column only, so the column name should be same, right? And then middle, and then again the same column name, position, and then bottom. Close the braces, close the bracket, and now okay, I think there is some problem. Okay, I added this braces here. Now the thing is right, and you can see that now values are showing up. If you press alt, top, middle, bottom, right? So three values are coming up because I have added one column of my in my table, which is called position, and this position have three values, so that's why three values are coming up. In case you want to use multiple, so you have to use the same syntax with the braces, and it will show you the values in the drop down accordingly. Please mind that in case you misspell this column name, then the values will not show up. Let me show you like this. So select the control, and let's say I remove this I. Now if you press alt, see, nothing coming up because system get confused. The column is position, but then what about the other columns, right? So we have to pass the same name, then only it will show me the values in the drop down accordingly, right? So this is the third thing which I wanted to share. Now let's play with some formulas and the conditional formatting of it, right? So to do that, let me add some text input and some labels, right? So let me add the label, here, control C, control V, control V, and then control V, and one more label. Okay, now let me add the text input as well. So align this text input with the label. Now we have to use the same thing, text input, text input. Okay, I want let's name it. For example, let's add a product, quantity, cost. And then total. Right, let's add one more label. And place it here, which will show me the total of this thing. Right, let's remove the text input. Like this. Okay, and now I want, as soon as user can input the product here, user can input the quantity here, user can input the cost here, and based on the selection, based on the value in this quantity text box, which is text input 21, let me rename it so that the formula will be easy to apply. This is called quantity and this is called cost. Right, so I want that the multiplication of this quantity and cost and the result should come up here. Right, so select this, and in this I want the sum no, not sum, but quantity into cost. Right, so let's run this thing. So right now it is 0. Let me add, for example, apples. Quantity is 10 apples, cost is, let's say, 5, and you can see that 10 into 5 is 50. Right, in case I will add some decimal value like 5.5 and change it to 11, so you can see the values are coming up like this. If I add 5.6, the values are coming up like this. Right, so based on your requirement, you can use the different mathematical formulas and apply into it, and the values are coming up, values will come up automatically into your label. Right, the thing is, let's because we know that we want to show the total, and sometimes the total is based on some formatting. Right, so certain formattings are required for to do that thing. Let's add some formatting into it. So what we can do is, like, text, we can use the function text, and then it takes the values to format into a text. So what value we want? We want like whatever be the multiplication of the quantity and cost, it should show me with some dollar sign or some formatting of decimal values like this. So for example, I have opened a different URL as well. You can see the text function in Power Apps. So here you see that how many different types of formulas we can apply based on the formatting option. So for example, here you can see if you're playing with the number, we can use like text the number whatever you want to format, and then hash 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 dot hash, right, dollar hash dot hash hash. So it shows that based on like what what number of decimal places you require in your output. So based on that, if you are playing with the number, you can utilize this section. If you're playing with the date time, you can use this section, right? So it's totally based on you, your requirement, that what exactly you want to use. So my purpose was that I just wanted to show you that in case you want to change the formatting of your output, right, then you have to utilize the text function, like quantity into cost, right. Let me put this into a bracket so that this will be my first parameter, and then the second parameter you can use for the text is something like you want to use dollar hash, what the text function, if you see, like this, we can use hash comma hash dot 00, like this, and you can see the output is coming up and dollar sign is automatically added, right. So this is how you can utilize the text function. I will add this link as well in the description section so that you can learn more about this text function, right. Now let's see, I want to show the summary of this formulas which I have done in this section. So based on this, what I can do, let's add some text. So the text could be like your product which is what, this text input 2. So select this control, your product text input 2 dot text, and cost is what is this, label 45. So label 45 dot text, right. So you can see the output is your product apples, cost is this. Now it does not look fine, so let's your product apples cost is this, right. Let me make it bold as well, and I can make this total as bold as well, And now if you run this, you can see that this is the summary of what you have done. The product name, which is the apples, the cost is this, so it is coming up. This thing is this, and this thing and this text is dynamic in nature. So for example, if I add oranges, you can see that your product oranges cost is this, right? And if I change this number to 10, automatically this thing is changed, right? So how we have added this, we just use the text property and the caption, whatever caption which is static in nature, we put that caption into the quotes, and then the ampersand is to link, concatenate the strings, multiple strings. Okay, so that's why. And this too, because I want whatever input user you put this down into this control, because it is dynamic in nature, so I use the control name dot text. So whatever the values user input here, that only will show here, and it is dynamic in nature. Then again, I again use the ampersand because I want to concatenate more string, and then one more static string, and then the total amount. So that's how you can use this string as well. Okay, now let's learn the last thing of this video, and then we will wind up the session. The last thing is I will add one button, and before that, if you want to play with the uh, certain color options of this for this text also, then it's also very easy. You just have to select that label and go to the color property like this, and here you can see currently it is showing me this default value. But if you don't want to use this color standard color, then you can change it very well accordingly to the selection or the input, whatever the thing is. So for example, if I see this text input 2, right, so I can use certain conditions as well in the color options, like if the text input 2 dot text is equals to apples, then color dot, let's say Alice blue, otherwise color dot yellow green, something like this. And you can see the color is changing, because if I run this right now, it is not apple, so color is coming up like this. If I change it to apples, you can see the color gets changed. Let me change, it is not visible at the moment, so I can change it to color dot red or something like this, right? And you can see your product apples cost is this. If I change it to anything, and you can see the color is changing, right? So you can play with the colors as well based on the conditions you want to add. You can add the same in the color section. Okay, now the last thing is the button. Like I don't want to manually delete everything here in my multiple controls. Okay, I want that I should click a button which will reset everything. So first of all, let me change the text of this button with the text called reset. Okay, so now the one thing is, like, if you know the name of your control, like text input 2, the quantity, the cost, okay, so we can use this reset function, like reset text input to, then again reset quantity, and then again reset cost. Okay, and now if I run this and if you click on this button, it will reset these controls, right? No value. I can input like this, I can input, and I can again reset, right? So this is the way, but the thing is it is not very flexible, because right now I have only three inputs, so three input control, so it is easy to add these lines. But what about in case you have multiple controls and you don't want to write down reset multiple times, right? So for that there is a way, there is a trick which we can use, and then everything will be very smoothly done, right? So what we have to use is, we have to use a variable here. So to start with the variable, we have to use a function called set. Okay, let me use, the name of my variable is var reset. Okay, first let me change it to false, and then set var reset to true. Okay, right now why I have used false and true two times, because when I click on this button, first it will reset the variable to false, and then it will reset the variable to true. Because if you use only true and if you don't set this to false initially, then if it is true, then it is always true, right? So it will never work after one time. So for example, if I remove this just to show you the output, right now I've set this to true. Okay, now let's copy this, and we have to assign this reset variable to my controls which I want to reset based on the click of this button. So I can select these text input controls and use the property of reset and pass my variable here, right? Now let's run this app, and apples 5 6. Okay, and if I reset, it is done. Okay, now again if I type apples 6 7, and if I click on reset, it is not working. Why it is not working? Because my variable value is still true, and if it is true, why it will again remove the things, right? So that's why before when I click on this, first it should set the values of my variable to false, and then only it should turn it to true, right? And because we have used the reset property for this control and pass the variable, so it will run and function accordingly, right? So right now it has the values. I can reset, I can again type orange, quantity is 6 and 5, and if I click again, it will delete the values, right? So that is the way to quickly reset the multiple controls in your screen by just making the use of the variable, right? So in this video I just wanted to show you these some basic things so that you can start creating your sample power apps in this power app portal. Okay, so in case you like the video, please hit the like button, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.